Civil War is not at all what you think. If you think this is going to tell you what to believe or what you should believe, or maybe something to validate your beliefs, I wouldn't watch this movie.
19 states have seceded.
The United States Army ramps up activity.
The White House issued warnings to the Western forces as well as the Florida Alliance.
The three-term president assures the uprising will be dealt with swiftly.
Let me know if you want to try anything on.
I guess aware there's like a pretty huge civil war going on all across America.
We just try to stay out.
Civil War is directed by Alex Garland. You know him from Ex Machina, Annihilation, Men, maybe Devs. Men sucks, but the other things are good. This movie stars Nick Offerman, Kirsten Dunst, Wagner Moura, Stephen McKinley Henderson, and Kaylee Spaeny. Let's get into it. This movie follows war journalists. If you don't know anything about a journalist, it is not this. It is not that. A journalist is completely objective and is there to tell you what the story is and what actually happened in the most probably numbing words possible. This movie makes you feel something. It's because it's viewed through that lens. This movie is not about the right or the left. It's not about a quote unquote civil war, though it's happening and you see it through these journalists' lens. And it's not about how the civil war in this movie started. It's more about following these journalists and why they do what they do and what they actually do. This movie follows the character of Lee, played by Kirsten Dunst. She is a war journalist that has been doing this for years. She's really famous. And she's kind of at this point in her life where she is kind of battling this internal struggle of why am I doing this? I recognize that I'm desensitized to this, but it still is very traumatizing. And it's really compelling when it's following that. Kirsten Dunst really knocks it out of the park. She is phenomenal. I had the thought, is this something I want to hear about early next year around the Oscars? This really feels like a pretty defining role for her. I don't know if it's her best, but it's certainly up there. She really knocks us out of the park. She's incredibly vulnerable, but also so incredibly strong and clearly passionate about what she does, while also recognizing the clear trauma and screwed up things with what she does. But she also recognizes that she's desensitized to those items. And as the movie progresses, I think it's really interesting to see how her character handles those things. She's really great in this. I personally have not seen her this good. The next person I really want to talk about is Kaylee Spaeny. I haven't seen her in anything. I know she's most recently in Priscilla, but she is fantastic in this. Her character of Jessie is a massive fan of Lee. And the progression of her character specifically is the one I think has potentially the largest arc. And it's kind of unsettling. And it's unsettling in a really convincing and interesting and grounded way, I think. It's pretty authentic, I would say. I think sometimes when we do things, sometimes passion gets in the way and maybe we do things that aren't so smart or aren't so logical. And I think the way Kaylee Spaany's character develops is really authentic. And Kaylee Spaeny is just truly a fantastic actress. If you're going into this movie hoping to see Nick Offerman a lot, he's not in it very much. In fact, I would say you probably see a lot of his moments in the trailer. He's good at what he does, but he's not in this movie very long. Another person in this movie that I really, really liked that I haven't seen much of before, I recently saw him in Mr. and Mrs. Smith, is Wagner Moura as Joel. Joel is such a rich character. I don't think you can get a complete pulse on his motivations or how he feels about something. And one thing in particular that I really like about these characters are they are so incredibly morally gray. They're not black or white. They are gray. They do some really, I wouldn't say awful things, but they're very desensitized in such a way that you're like, how does this not bother you? Are you okay? There's one moment with Joel in particular that's just so incredibly haunting, and I really loved it. But Jesse Plemons, this man, for the 10 minutes he's on screen, steals the show. This particular scene that he is in is one of the scariest, most haunting and chilling things that I've seen in a movie in a long time. It's legitimately terrifying, and he is fantastic. I don't want to be alone in a room with this guy. Truly, truly immeasurable how terrifying it is. Dude is incredible. He steals the movie in 10 minutes. Truly good. He's worth the price of admission alone, period. Let's talk about the movie now. So I mentioned at the beginning of this that if you're looking for validation and belief, if you're looking for, a a movie about the left or the right, or who's wrong or who's right. This is not that movie. I think there are some pretty weak takes on the internet about this movie right now. Though I can respect if someone just does not like the movie, there are some pretty weak takes out there about what this movie should be, what it shouldn't be, and how it's irresponsible. And I don't find any of those things compelling. What I do find compelling is this thing. I think it's really subtle in the way this movie works. It follows journalists. Journalists are supposed to be objective. This has a very steady hand, intentionally, I would say. And I think the movie that it shows is pretty darn compelling. It's more of a mirror to what maybe we should be thinking about, as opposed to trying to incept us with ideas of what we should or should not believe. And I think that's really compelling. This story, at the end of the day, is about a group of journalists who are there to tell a story, and you follow them uncovering that story. It is not about a war. It is not about the left or the right. It's not about who's wrong or right. It's about journalists. And I think this movie really succeeds when it tells those stories. In fact, I think Kirsten Dunst will be nominated for the Oscar this year. It's so incredibly early to tell, but she is incredible. Kaylee Spaeny is incredible. All of these characters are so incredibly rich. Alex Garland really knocks this movie out of the park. I love Ex Machina a lot. I'm not ready to say this is better than that movie. I will say, as a photographer and as a person who has a degree in journalism, this movie, I think, lives up to the expectations of what I wanted it to be. And I'm really happy to say that I love this movie. If Dune Part 2 came out last year, this would be 100% my favorite movie of the year. I love it. Cannot wait to watch it again. I've already got tickets for tomorrow. I will be seeing this thing again. I cannot wait to do it. Let me know if you've seen this movie, what you think in the comments. What are you expecting this movie to be? Let me know. Anyhow, if you like this video and you want to see more, please like and subscribe, and I will see you guys next time. Adios. Thanks for watching.